Good morning. Welcome to day 0 on the Camino del Norte. That is right. I am walking through Spain again. Different route. Right now I am in the town of Hondarribia, which is a medieval Spanish fishing village that is right on the border with France. In fact, let me show you. If we go around, if you look across the water, that is France. And so actually I'm at really close to where I started my first Camino in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, the French way, 2 years ago. The difference is that this time I'm a little bit further north, right on the coastline, as you can see. And so as the name implies, the Camino del Norte, the northern way, will be hugging the northern coastline of Spain. It is going to be a very beautiful Camino, as you can already see. It's also going to be a lot harder, with a lot of climbing, kind of like I'm doing right now. But before I can start my Camino, I need my Pilgrim passport. And so that is my first goal for today. I just flew in from Madrid a couple of hours ago. It was raining. Thankfully, it's cleared up. I had some breakfast. Everything's great. And right now I'm going to the tourist office right here in the main square, which is also where I'm staying, in the hopes that I will be able to find a Pilgrim passport here. The thing is, it's not highly likely. I may have to go to the neighboring town called Irún, which is where most pilgrims start the northern way. But of course, I don't want to do what everybody does, right? So I may have to do a little excursion next door to get my Pilgrim passport. Let's hope that I don't. Let's give it a try, and I'll check in later. In the meantime, look at that. Yep. That is the main square here in Hondarribia. That is my hotel, ancient castle for an emperor known as Carlos V. In Mexico, he's very famous, not because of the emperor, but because of the chocolate Carlos V. As expected, no Pilgrim passports, so we are going to take a little boat ride into France and then walk my first steps on the Camino. Here we are, after an hour's walk in France, in Hendaye. We are now arriving in Spain, and more importantly, at the bridge of St. James. Hey. So, while I don't start the way of St. James until tomorrow, I guess these can be considered my first unofficial steps on the northern way. I am crossing the bridge of St. James that connects the French village of Hendaye with the Spanish city of Irún. And you know, Irún is traditionally considered the official start of the northern way. But if you followed me during the French way a couple of years ago, you really know that there's no such thing as the official start. Yes, there are certain towns that have become over the years the traditional starting points where people embark on the way of St. James. On the French way, it is Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Here on the northern way, it is considered to be Irún. But at the end of the day, the way is over 1,000 years old. Back then, there weren't trains, planes, and automobiles, right? So you would just walk out your front door, and that was the start of the Way of St. James. And so, yeah, you can start from Irún, or you can do what I'm doing and start from Hondarribia. And why am I starting from Hondarribia? You know, I just wanted something a little more quaint. When I started doing my research, I realized that Irún is more of a smallish city, a bit on the modern side, not a terrible amount of personality. And the one thing that I really loved about starting in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port on the French Way 2 years ago was just how gorgeous and quaint that village was. And it was just this perfect way to, you know, get going on this incredible 500-mile adventure. And so for me, Hondarribia is kind of my equivalent to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. It's a small, quaint town with a lot of history. You all know, again, if you followed me a couple of years ago, that I'm a sucker for old historic accommodations, and I found an old castle to stay in tonight. You know, one of my little splurges along the way. So yeah, I chose to start from Hondarribia. That means that, of course, as you heard me say earlier, I am here on a quest to get my Pilgrim passport. And because it's a Sunday, I'm a little bit more limited, I should say a Saturday, on where I can get it. But I know that I can get it at the local police station here. I've already called in advance. They told me they have it. It's a 20-minute walk from the bridge. So I'm gonna get my Pilgrim passport there, and then I'll go back to Hondarribia and have myself a fabulous lunch, put my feet in the air, and get some rest, because tomorrow is going to be a long, hard first day on the Northern Way of St. James.